Hello malt mates, welcome to the Bothy, welcome to the Whisky Bothy, where I review whisky like this. This is Isle of Arran, part of a signature series, excuse me, from this little island distillery in Scotland, single malt distillery. So we're talking about whisky. Any spirit made from grain is called a whisky. Quite legitimately so, but in Scotland there are statutory laws that make it quite clear you need to use 100% malted barley. The whisky must be distilled in a pot still or variation of a pot still theme. I mean, there's a number of pot stills you can use, and it must be matured in oak casks for a minimum of 3 years. So here we have one here. And the reason I'm reviewing this is because I like it, obviously, and the distillery is celebrating 30 years of making whisky. Now, when you go through my archive, which is a wee search box at the top of my channel page, you'll see that there are 24 videos on Isle of Arran Distillery. Three of them are actually on location when they had an open day many years ago. And I really enjoyed that visit. I enjoyed the fact that you had a modern, contemporary distillery focusing on quality. And you know, and I know, and anybody that knows about whisky knows that the 10-year-old has become a staple of consistency and good quality delivery of a bottling 46% unchill filtered natural colour, and it says so on the label. So to celebrate their 30 years as distillery, they are bringing out a range of bottlings, including this one, which I have bought. It's a bit more expensive than your 10-year-old. Sure is. Well, it's significantly more expensive, but it still gives relative value for money because of the fact that it's a smaller batch of whisky. It's part of the Signature series, which is a number of wine cask or guest cask finishes, giving a slight permutation, a different take on the theme of Arran single malt Scotch. Bottled at 50%, so a higher bottling strength. It's 12 years old, and I'm going to get out my steampunker magnifying glass and give you the actual code of this batch in case you're going to go out and look for it. The code is 18-RDD-01-48. This was bottled in spring of 2025, and the information on the label, and the label's the contract as always, is that this is a bourbon barrel cask, and then it's been finished in first fill Spanish red wine casks from the Douro region, in specifically warehouse number 4, if warehousing matters to you. And by the way, for some people it does, and I'll tell you why. Because at a distillery, some warehouses, because of the provenance and their location, they have a different effect on the maturing spirit over time. It's just the way it is. And of course, another thing about some distilleries is that the original warehouses will be small dunnage warehouses with big thick walls, and generally they're cooler throughout the year. Whereas when they build a modern warehouse, it tends to be of lighter construction. It tends to be basically get warmer in the summer, and it matures spirit in a different way. It's just the way it goes. This has been in warehouse number 4. It is non-chill filtered. There is no added colouring, so no E150A colourant. The additional natural colours coming from the Douro casks, and this is the tasting notes are saying dark berry, salted caramel and sweet spice. However, I don't personally, probably because I've got plenty of confidence in my own palate, I don't generally put much weight to the tasting notes provided because they tend to steer you to interpret the whisky a certain way, a way that suits the people that are selling you it. It does come in this little baggie. I'm showing the bag only because whisky in bags is a relatively unusual situation, but to be honest, a bag is probably more reusable than a box. After all, you can turn the bag into a little whisky glove puppet, which you can't really do with a box. Right. Anyway, let's get rid of that. It's not required. And let's have a look at the whisky. 12 years old, 50%. It has spent a period of time in the Douro, Northern Spanish region red wine casks, which it's basically Spain's equivalent to Chianti. So you're looking at deep flavours, dark fruit note wine, with a fair amount of tannins involved. And I have to say, I'm fond of the stuff myself. I like these heavier red wines. On the nose, there is a little bit of blackberry, actually. So we're getting that cask influence coming across. It's fairly well assimilated into the malt. And the malt has certainly got a lot of character. It's very barley sugar. It's very substantial. It's really, really good quality whisky, even on the nose. First taste. "12-year-old, 50%, hardly any alcoholic nip. This signifies one important thing. One, well-made spirit. And two, really good casks. The bourbon casks have done, frankly, an amazing job. You could easily drink this neat. Absolutely splendid start. What I'm also noticing is there's a little bit of Parma violets or violet note. And a little bit of cranberry. So I'm not getting the dark fruit so much on the palate, but I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll taste it again neat and then add a soda spoon portion of 5 millilitres of water from my little cut glass tumbler, which I never use for drinking whisky. The quality of the American oak is really delightful. It's kind of aromatic. It's almost a little bit virgin oak, but toffeed. So you can see the casks have been quite well prepared before they get passed on to Arran Distillery. And these have been well sourced casks. Always a good start. It helps to justify the higher premium pricing you're paying for this, knowing that you are genuinely getting more. You're not just getting what exists at a higher strength. The delivery at the higher strength is working superbly well. Let's have another taste. Slightly prune. The violet note, again, is quite prominent. Cranberries, so bitter, really quite intense red fruit. Slight rosehip note as well. A wonderfully buttery, vanillaed, barley sugar confection, shortbready, biscuity Isle of Arran. It's as good as Isle of Arran gets, actually. And it's a great age, this 12-year-old, because it's really active casks. So the quality of maturity for the number of years is pretty solid. So I'm now going to add, the finish is actually relatively light, but I know in adding water, I'm not only going to unravel the arrival and stretch the development, but I'm going to add more flavour to the finish. Simply because I'm cutting the intensity of the alcohol. It's not just an opinion, it's a scientific fact. So I'm going to lift this up, have a look at the volumetry. It is really kind of broad brush stroke versimetry. The ripples in there are bigger ripples rather than small ripples. Again, a testament to the fact that it is not chill filtered, and the original whisky is well made, and the original casks are absolutely solid. What I'm noticing already is that the influence of the Douro red wine casks from Spain are restrained. They're understated. They're delicate. They're not imposed. They're hinted at. I've added some water. It's becoming a little more tangy on the nose. The barley sugar's becoming riper. The vanillas are becoming stronger. The slight caramel, I wouldn't call it toffee, I'd call it more caramel notes they're pretty solid, and they've got a lot of substance to them. Now, with a drop of water, I have another taste. Delicious, sweet, honeyed, dominant arrival. Excuse me, I'm going to have to move my glass. I'm probably going to have to hold on to my bottle, because we've got a visitor in the bothy, and he's pausing, ready to jump. Is he jumped yet? No, he's not. He's just playing games with me. Fluffy, if I give you some little treats, will you get out the bothy? Thank you, dear. Thank you, sweetheart. There's your treats. You're always a little bit gentler in the cask compared to your big brother, who swings his tail around left, right and centre. My little munchkin, my little fluffy bundle of complexity. He's quite good. He won't jump up in the cask a second time because he doesn't want to make cat daddy cross. Isle of Arran Signatory Series. All in all, from the feedback I've been getting at the retailers, a good solid series. The red wine, one reason I bought the red wine cask matured Douro is because I'm familiar with the wine. If you're buying these whiskies that have specific finishes, whether it be Madeira, whether it be Port Marsala, Palo Cortado, it's really useful to actually get a bottle of the original liquor, and don't try and get it at the supermarket. Get it from a specialist retailer so you get the authentic stuff, because when you taste and engage with it, it gives you a much more valuable sensory point of comparison from when you're actually buying it, influencing the whisky. One thing I'm really picking up on so far is just how good the whisky is, even without the red wine cask influence. It is in the top of its game, actually, and is a further testament to the overall superb quality of Isle of Arran. Having said that, I think that they ask quite a hefty price premium for the older bottlings, which are more cask reliant, and I tend to avoid those. Personal opinion. Wonderfully resinous now. We're getting that American oak wood, white oak, Quercus alba oak coming through without being harsh, beautifully assimilated into the actual quality of the single malt itself. Wonderfully sweet and sour, biscuity shortbread, slightly caramel arrival, aromatic, some mild white sage in the background, a little bit of thyme, something tangy in there, something herbaceous and tangy. I'm getting a little bit of bay leaves if you really scrunch it up, usually used for cooking or poaching salmon in, but you can eat bay leaves on their own, but a word of caution, they are a narcotic and hallucinogenic, so be aware of that. But this, it stretches the arrival beautifully with the water. It holds on to the intensity of flavour, and the finish is clean and crisp, and frankly it's not that long in the glass before the red wine influence fades and fails to sustain itself. But it's no big deal because the rest of whiskey is so damn good anyway. Now, here in review number 1099, what malt mark am I going to give this whiskey? For overall satisfaction, yeah, big mark, 85 out of 100. I'm really enjoying the fact that it's not peated. It's a real old-fashioned, beautifully made, constructed whiskey, which I remember getting from independent bottlers in the old days when distilleries were that desperate to sell the casks. They sold the good casks, any casks, out the warehouse. It didn't matter because nobody was particularly interested in malts apart from the weirdos and the geeks, including us. So I was there. I remember whiskies of this style, and it's lovely, it's heartwarming to see this style of whiskey make a resurgence and reappearance, and also to be revalued and appreciated by a new generation who understand the actual quality of it. So cheers, maltsters. Cheers, whiskey fans. And cheers, malt mates. Good results. Very happy with this. If you want to pop back for my next review, number 1099 extras, I'm just going to talk generally, give you my opinion on finishes. And it's just basically an overview and a point of guidance. So join me then. I'll see you there.